was a little sweeter.
Well, welcome everybody to the Woodland Rival podcast, and this show I got on Brock Vandagriff, football player. I know most people ought to know who he is. He played with UGA, and then he played with Kentucky his last year, and just wanted to ask you a little bit of questions. So tell me a little bit about UGA to start with.
It was pretty good. Committed there, I believe it was my junior or senior year, and 20 minutes down the road was my parents' house. Went to high school, obviously in Oconee County, the next county over from Clark, but met some of my best friends, in my life there. Brock Bowers, Cash, Chaz, all roommates, at one time. All there for the full 3 years. Then obviously Bowers went to the league. I went to Kentucky. Cash is staying for 2 more years since then. Chaz 1 more year, and obviously he just got picked up by the Vikings, but was able to be to grow as a man there. Ate some good food in the new cafeteria there with the football thing, or with the football dining hall they did. Was really molded by some great coaches, and wouldn't trade it for anything.
And then so for your last year, you transferred over. You hit the transfer portal and went to Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Played for Kentucky a year. And if I'm not mistaken, what I read, this is just a question asking out there, you had 1 more year eligibility, right?
Yes, sir.
And so something told you was just not wanting to play football no more, or how did that come about?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it kind of was a thing where, for those that don't know, I'm pretty bold in my faith. It's a big part of my life. My family's a big part of my life, and it kind of got to a point where I'd looked up one day. I'd sprained my ankle that year. I popped my bursa sac in my knee, sprained my AC joint, got a concussion. Just was physically banged up, and mentally it was tough. We I think we went 3 and whatever, but we didn't have that good of a season at the end of the day. But I'd prayed about it, I talked to my family about it, and kind of sat back and was at 22 years old, more than blessed. My great grandparents are still living on my mom's side in Alabama. My grandparents still living there. My sister is playing softball at Alabama. The other one's playing at EKU volleyball, and I was wanting to obviously get engaged, which I just did last week.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, congratulations on getting engaged.
Heck yeah.
And that's a great family. I know them well, and they seem to be some really, really good people. So,
yes, sir. Thank you. And kind of just had looked back and was everything I need and everything that's important in life is right in front of me. And I was kind of just ready to get started. I'd been playing football as long as I can remember, and was ready to start working and being basically like a normal citizen almost.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So I remember, I'm a Georgia fan. Grew up, right here, Bulldogs all the way, Georgia fan. I always liked watching you play, and even in, the championship year and all with Stetson Bennett and all, when you got in the game, I always knew you ran the ball hard, you throw and run the ball hard. But I remember when you went to Kentucky, man, y'all gave us a game. Y'all might have had a bad season, but we only beat y'all by a point. I think
yes,
it was 13-12, and sitting there looking back. But I can remember me and a buddy of mine, Brad Portwood, me and him liked to watch a lot of games together, and he's even talked. He always liked you too, and we had y'all backed up in the end zone. Should have been a sack. It's like Georgia defense sometimes. They had their hands on you, and you broke out and about 10 yards and made that slide. And then I think y'all went down the field, and I'm like, that's the boy we let get away. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's fixing to give it to us. So
that's very vivid in my mind.
I can imagine.
Because Chaz, my old roommate, one of my good buddies, he's rushing off the edge, and just a huge hole had opened up. I was like, frick, I don't even have time to see if anyone's open. It's time to go. Right. And scampered off, and there's a few pictures that were taken. He's chasing me, so I always send it to our little group chat. Oh yeah, Chaz, just a reminder, But it was definitely daunting, that Georgia defense right there. I think we were on the 1 or 2. Either we muffed a punt or had gotten it down there. We didn't catch it, but it was. I think that was really the first or second drive of the game too. It was kind of just a.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun.
So when you lined up against all that Georgia defense, how did you feel being used to playing with them before? Did you feel a little bit comfort there knowing all of them, or did it put a little more bubbles in your stomach, thinking, "Oh, these boys, I got to play. They're
absolutely.
after me." You know what I mean?
Sir. Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both, honestly. You know, I wouldn't say there's ever really much comfort as the opposing quarterback going against the Georgia defense, but in its entirety. You know, but kind of just tendencies of guys, just from dudes. I mean, we're playing against Smile Munden, inside linebacker. We came in together. His locker was right beside me, good buddies. Like, yeah, like I don't memorize all their calls, and like there people were talking to me about like, hey, you should know the calls. You've seen it when the rubber hits the road. There's 25 seconds for you to get your play, you to get your guys lined up, and you to see what they're in or what they're disguising in, what it's looking like. Send your shifts and motions and snap the ball. You don't have time to, what are they saying over there? So at the end of the day, it's football, and got to be prepared with what you've watched on film that week. And it was good, and part of the scary part of going against them was just what all those guys are capable of. They're what they go through all year,
right,
all off season, what they've been through, how much film they watch, all this stuff. So it's almost like a level of respect to it as well.
Right, you know how hard they hit too.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, heck yeah.
You felt that at practice before, I imagine.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So a little bit about you growing up. So your dad, he's been a full-time coach for years, and
yes,
so did you grew up under him as your coach most of your life, or how'd that work?
Yes, sir. I played baseball until my freshman year of high school, football for as long as I can remember, and he was always baseball and football, and then he's always been defense his whole life, my whole life, and then it was my freshman year. He had hired an OC to come in, and basically the guy, Coach Cobley, he's like a Roswell, Harrison, I'm not sure. I think it's Roswell legend, but like their stadium's named after him. He's a good dude, great guy, great friends with my dad, but he'd got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer like July before the season.
Oh man.
Passed away before our first game. Oh. So my dad called offense and defense that year, which is, I mean, for those that know football, like it's a lot. He was like, dude, I didn't even sleep.
Right.
And so he called offense and defense, but that was my freshman year. I wasn't playing quarterback yet. So then we get in there. My sophomore year I am, and he's like, well, I'm just going to move to offense. He hired a DC to come in. So he made the switch to offense, and I think I'm not sure what he's doing now, honestly. He's the head ball coach, though, at a school in Tennessee, Lakeway now. But, yeah, he did a little bit of offense, too.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So, you when you decided to give up football, this is a question I wanted to ask. How was his feelings? I mean, did he?
Oh yeah.
Did it tear him up a little bit, or did he understand? Or
yeah, it's kind of two parts to that. Like, obviously one side is going to see it from a dad's perspective and one side is going to see it from a coach's perspective. I think even pulling from both sides there, they would have both, there's some that were like, I wish you would have played another year. And there's obviously some that's like, dude, you left it all out there. You've played football as long as I can remember. And then like health wise, dude, I want to be able to play with my kids, play with my grandkids, which is what life's really about, family, friends, things of that sort. But, we had a lot of long conversations about it, and, just decided that was the best decision.
Yeah, so he kind of put his hand on your shoulder. And
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. And you got two sisters as athletes too, right?
Yes, sir.
They're both in college playing. One of them's playing softball, and
yes, sir.
What's the other
Alabama, and my middle sister is at EKU playing volleyball.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. And honestly, I know the family that you're marrying into, and they're pretty athletic.
Oh, yes,
watch
sir.
them. So you might have some little bitty Vandagriffs we might get to see coming up.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
I know y'all. You told me after y'all get married or shortly, you're going to be looking for a place to live, kind of up more closer to Atlanta, but more out in the country a little bit. I can tell you're a good old country boy from what I met and talked to you about. We're going to get into that a little bit. So let's go back to friends. Like you told me that you and Brock Bowers and several of them's come closer. I run across a picture that you got to do your little Googling stuff, and see everything. But I've seen that picture with you and Brock Bowers. I knew Brock Bowers hunted some and all, but y'all was out on a duck hunt somewhere. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we try to go 2 or 3 times a year, sometimes once.
And y'all still do that today?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. We go to Corning, Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, out there. And actually we go with a dentist he was one of my dad's friends, became one of our close friends. He has one daughter, and he was like, I like to hang out with the guys and stuff. So he would invite me, Brock, and Chaz and Cash over, and we'd play poker. We'd have meals there probably 4 or 5 times a year. We went to Elberton Gun Club, shot the skeets there and stuff with him. He was a member there, and he one year was like, "Hey, you want to go to Arkansas?" It was like our freshman or sophomore year in college. We're like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so we've kind of just made it a annual thing. And obviously he's playing in Vegas and stuff, and Cash, when he's done, he'll be back in Texas, but we always make it a point to make sure that we are always going to Arkansas at least once a year, and then we always go in summer to Cash's lake house in Texas. So that'll be the 2 times for sure we know we get to see each other.
You're going to do that every year, that's awesome. And man, we was talking about this the other night on the show, and it's y'all have y'all's football, and football is a lot, and football can really build some brotherhood, even when it comes to just high school and friends and all. But hunting, have you already noticed, like even with them, the outdoors, how close it can bring you to sharing some good hunts together and all?
Oh yeah, so absolutely. There's some core memories, that I can pull out from Chaz, Cash, or Brock any given time of. This is the biggest deer he shot when he was with me. This is the smallest deer. And this was the shootout banging day in the duck blind.
Right. So let's get this clear. So who's the best shot out of y'all?
If you ever get a hold of any of those 3, there is I like to say it's photoshopped and edited. There is a picture out there of me wearing a unicorn customized shirt that says "I am the worst shot," which... It was a fluke day. I did come in last place at the gun club, but it's always down to Cash and Brock. Yeah, because Brock, believe it or not, he did a lot of duck hunting in California.
Did he? I think they wouldn't have thought that.
No, not at all. So, But he did a little bit in Oregon, and I think Washington. But both of those dudes have pretty good shots. Me and Chaz are kind of bringing up the back.
Right. So both of those grew up kind of hunting. Then Cash grew up. Well, hunting.
Cash. He hunted a little bit, the Texas stuff.
Well, Texas, I've been to Texas. It's like, just give me, let's sit up here and look, wait on, here comes a big deer, know.
But Cash, what plays into his field is he's one of those dudes that is just not elite, but very good at anything. And that's just how he is.
Yeah.
But
and I figured Brock Bowers would be the same way. I mean, when you can catch a football with your fingertip, when it comes, you know what I mean? It's just like, those people that can get on the golf course, get on whatever you hand them, they're just going to be good at, just straight up athletes. But so y'all deer hunted together?
Oh yeah, yes sir.
Y'all killed some deer together, you said?
Yes sir. Yeah.
So tell me a deer hunting story. Which one you want to pick out?
There's I guess one overarching theme from all the stories is Cash, and this plays on to what I just talked about. Cash is also a dude. He's gonna wake up late. You're gonna have to go get him out of bed. Just really a pain in the butt, honestly. But he'll tell you that too. But I'll be, doing some food plots, getting the cameras ready, hanging stands, all this stuff, and Cash just shows up. That's just how he is. That's what he does. But that joker, the past 4 years, has killed my 1 or 2 buck on every tract, every place, everywhere.
So everywhere you take him, he's going to kill your.
He's going to studs I didn't even know were there, never seen before, no nothing. One of the stories, we're hunting in Jackson County. And I'd hunted this tower stand for 3 or 4 days. I try not to pressure him too much, try to move around. But I had a big deer on camera, 3 or 4 days. Hunted every morning, every evening. It was peak to end of peak rut. Cash, hey, can I go with you? Yeah, sure, no problem, whatever. So I'll go move stands. This is a great story.
So this is when y'all were in college together.
Yes,
y'all
sir.
were playing ball together.
Yes, sir. So he's in the tower stand, and we got a group chat. It's me, Brock, Cash, and Chaz. And I I'm sitting there and I just hear, whoa, boom. And I get on my phone. I was like, hey, like let it rest. Like, just don't get down. Don't do nothing, Cash, whatever. He calls me. He's like, dude, I killed the biggest deer of my life. He goes, he's like, oh my gosh, he's moving. And I just, boom. And so I'm like, holy smokes, like whatever. So we're sitting down like 30 minutes later. I get down, he gets down, and we go look for this deer. It's 10 yards from where he said that he shot it. It walked in the woods, died. The shot is like in front of the back leg. There's one bullet in this deer. So we're like, you either scared the heck out of it the first time, and it just stood there, and you shot it on the second try, or you shot it on the first try and it just fell down or whatever.
Missed it on the second one. Yeah.
So we're talking about it. We're sitting by the fire after that. He was wearing AirPods and watching TikTok. Yep,
that's what he was doing.
He said he looked up and it was out there.
Yeah,
that's
lucky,
Cash.
That lucky
that's
one,
Cash.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
That's it.
That's Cash for you, though. But that's always a running joke. Hey, you coming hunting today? Or make sure you get them AirPods, But that's just how he is.
Right. So did you grow up hunting?
Yes, sir.
You and your dad hunted?
My dad is like always been really busy with football, obviously, coaching, because he was coaching Anna and Audrey too. Mm-hmm. So he did a little hunting when he was younger, but it's really one of my cousins in Alabama. Two of them really, they're brothers, but one of them graduated with my mom. One of them was a little bit younger, but they kind of showed me the ropes with everything, especially deer hunting. Like they run dogs and stuff in Alabama. Right. They got dogs, but pretty much everything I know about the outdoors and fishing is from them.
So you went over and they took you under the wing, and that's good stuff right there. Your dad is a coach. He puts all of his heart and all into that. But to me, those stories too, and looking back at having the mentors like that and family that bring you up and get you in it too. You got any good stories with them when you was younger? Anything that off your head that comes to you?
Yeah, I mean, there probably is. Like, I think it was my first deer I ever shot. I was sitting and I just got this climber. Like, I'd been hunting before or whatever, and I got this climber, and I'm sitting underneath. I call him my uncle. They're really my cousins, right. But I'm sitting underneath Piney. He's in his climber, and
Piney is his name.
Well, his name's Matt Smith. Right. He drives the 18-wheeler. That's his handle, is Piney.
I got you.
The other one's Mark Smith. He goes by Nub.
Are they loggers?
No, sir. They haul. They're like flatbeds, a bunch of steel and brick and stuff. But so yeah, they're doing that. And we're hunting, and I fell asleep. And Piney he was like, I'm carrying this stick with me. He's like, I know you're gonna fall asleep, whatever. And so I literally feel it on my neck right here, and I feel on my neck right here, and I turned up, and I was like, what? He's like, right there. I'm like, okay. I woke up, I'm really young. I wake up, and I'm sitting on my climber, and I reach out at this number right here. Boom! I'm shooting like a little 308.
Right.
It pops me right here because I was turned around like this, and I look up at him. I'm like, let's go. It dropped. It was a doe. I'm just juiced. I'm literally, he's like, oh, what happened? I'm bleeding like right. I was like, what?
Got the battle scar.
Like, oh my gosh. And I'm shaking so much. He's like, hand me that gun right quick. Because I hand the gun up to him. But that was probably one of my better Piney stories. And that was one of the first, successful hunts that we had. I don't know how old I was. Pretty young for sure. But it was a great one.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you didn't even feel getting that old battle wound from that scope. I done seen that many times. From people.
I was so juiced, I saw a deer on the ground, it could have been a spike. It could have been something that looked like this right here, or the doe that I shot, but I was just so juiced.
Right. So was it just you, your sisters, and nothing? Did they ever go hunting or anything? Or
no, sir. Yeah.
And which I got my daughter hunts, but I know that a lot of times girls in the family don't hunt. Sometimes they do. Sir. I was just wondering if they had hunted or anything at all too. But so when you went out to Kentucky, and you told me a little bit on this, you went to Kentucky when you was playing out there. You got to do a little hunting out there, right?
Yes, sir.
I know you turkey hunted. You deer hunt too?
I did not, but the farm that I actually killed a turkey on, they asked me if I could, but at this point in the season, it was kind of, at the end of the season, playing Texas, Louisville, stuff like that. Just didn't really have any great opportune times, but the opportunity or the invitation is still open. They've texted me, and let me know I could go, but it was a great tract, and that is where I shot my first turkey at.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So I was going to get you to tell me that story. Tell me about that turkey hunt.
So we're out there. My turkey hunting is my turkey calling is a little subpar. I practice a lot. I don't see a lot of turkeys. That's the problem. But so we go to Kentucky, or we're already in Kentucky. We go hunting, and he's like, hey, they're probably over here. Maybe, I don't know. They might be over here, whatever. So we're sitting there, and I'm calling a little bit. He's calling a little bit. I'm trying to make sure my call sounds as close to his as possible. But so I'm sitting there, I'm working them. They're hollering back at me. They come to about 200 yards, and I'm calling at him. He's calling at him a little bit, and it gets to about 100 yards. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. This joker, he sees our decoys and I'm talking ears pinned back, rolling to the decoys. He sits there. It was a blur. He could have fought him. He could have done whatever, but he was like, do you see him? I'm like, yeah, I see him. Like, he said, boom. But it was, from the time we laid eyes on him that he was out in the field, not in the woods, it was like the snap of your fingers, but it was awesome. Got up and got some pictures of it or whatever. But
big time adrenaline rush.
Oh my gosh,
right.
It was good, and it's kind of people ask me like, what's your favorite hunting? And
I was fixing to ask you that,
yeah,
so you can.
It's kind of I always answer it the same. It's kind of the same as like when I was younger, like basketball, football, track, baseball. What's your favorite? Like, dude, whatever's next.
What season's
yeah,
in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever's next. Like, and it's just like, it's how God intended it, probably.
Right.
Like when it's cold, I don't bass fish as much. I know some people, they bass fish in December and stuff, and you got the chance to catch toads.
Right.
I don't feel like going and ripping down the river when it's cold outside. I want to be bundled up and I want to be in a deer stand. Right. So it's just kind of whatever the weather's like is what I'm ready for. And even like June, July when bass fishing and stuff, it's hot as heck. Like I'm like, okay, about ready for some cooler weather and to get in the woods. But then just about time for turkey season, and to start fishing again, I'm ready for it.
Oh yeah. So that's me. I grew up in a big hunting family, and I like all of it the same way as the seasons go, but turkey hunting is my favorite. Turkey hunting, hands down, is just what I really, really love out of all of it, if you ask me that. But I had a great uncle that, I saw, you've seen him. He was the captain of the police department in Milledgeville, and he hunted. If you seen him out of work, he was in camouflage. Mm-hmm. And this is me growing up in the 80s and 90s. He had a camouflage Toyota pickup truck. He had it painted camouflage. Everywhere he went was in that truck. And I remember a guy telling me one time, and this has stuck with me since. He said, I know one thing about you. His name was Jerry Wolf. He says, I know one thing about your Uncle Jerry. He says, if they made a season on mosquitoes, he would hunt them. And I'm like, he would, It's like he is going to hunt whatever it comes in. Squirrel season comes in. This is something as a boy I would, but squirrel season come in August the 15th, be hot. And, he was teaching me some tricks with like quarters. You could take quarters, and I don't know if you ever heard this, but you can rub them together, and it sounds like a squirrel cutting on nuts. And in August, they cut on them hickory nuts. Yeah. And he would go sit back, which he ate them and liked them, but he would sit back under that hickory tree and just rub them quarters together, and it sound like cutting, and them squirrels would pop out up there and come down through there and shoot them. So it's like a lot of old stuff that I learned from him. But it's the same way. It's whatever season comes about.
Absolutely.
So I grew up at a time I got to learn a lot of old tricks. I got some funny stories I get into one day on this thing with some of the old timers. But so what is your now that you're out, not playing football, you've got engaged, and I know you're fixing to try to really move on with your life, get settled down. You're working. You actually work for your father-in-law, right, in the medical field, and I know he's got a really nice farm where you've been helping him do a lot of stuff there, and that's like, I could see that as far as where you've been in a go kind of stressful, because I know it's got to be stressful life. I mean, you playing college ball, you got everybody looking at you, you got everything, but you kind of hit a spot where you could be a little laid back for a little bit,
Yes,
take and rethink, talk to God about things, and put it in there. But so, what's your kind of goals on coming up? Just say not just with your wife and all, but like hunting and all. What are you wanting to kind of get into?
Kind of my biggest goal for now is like just growing up. Obviously, deer season is in football. I've been playing football my whole life. This is my first, and I've told Leighton this. I was like, this is a test. I was like, this is our first season, deer season coming up. I said that with no football. In high school, when I could, obviously in college you couldn't much, but I'd save up all my absences in school. Like literally when deer season came in, I hunted Friday morning. It didn't matter if we had a game. Right. I'd hunt Friday morning, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning before church. Right. And then when the rut came in, I saved my absences and hunted every day I could and came into school at lunch. Right. And she was like, oh, I remember all this stuff or whatever. I was like, okay, well, I'm just making sure you know.
You kind of prepping her like, deer season's coming up, and I've been running back and forth to Atlanta, but when I ain't got days, I'm going to the farm. I'm going to be sitting in the deer stand.
Absolutely. Well, I live out there, so I'm able to, to procure it a little bit how I like. But one of my biggest goals is, like I said, with being that busy schedule and stuff, which obviously you've probably had, or still do, whatever. But putting out cameras, dumping corn out. Right. Okay, that's really easy. Anyone can do that. Right. My biggest goal is to plant a few food plots, see how they do, see what I want to plant, and I'm gonna do my research. Like I think we talked about it out in front of the store. Right. But I'm going to gather, all the research I can, plant what I think I want to do, and see what's the best, just from laying my eyes. I'm not going to do some study out there, but I want something where, hey, I don't have to go dump out corn once a week. I want something that the hogs aren't going to go be smoking on for the whole night. Right. Yeah. Because
y'all do have hogs out there.
Yes, sir.
Got an issue with that. And so there is a trap y'all should look into that I got a couple of different friends using. One of them uses right up the river, but it's called the pig brig. And man, you can wear them out. They've caught, one of the guys, they caught 36 pigs in one night in that trap. And it's the way it sets up kind of like a trampoline and comes kind of down, and they kind of scoot themselves up under it, but then they step on it so they can't get out. It's pretty neat, but I don't know, you and your father-in-law might look into that. Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to, to set it just to kind of get rid of them. I mean, it's a little expensive, but to me, it's worth it to get hot. Yeah. Especially y'all are dealing with a lot of cattle and all that, and I know they come in there and just destroy those fields. And
you'll be on the buggy or something, even putting out corn, checking cameras, cutting trails, the tractor, lawnmower. I mean, you're just
boom, boom. That's right.
About to get another concussion.
That's right. Yeah, because the guy I know, he's just a few farms up from y'all, but he's actually upriver. And I don't know why you seem like this, but like you go up towards town, so y'all are catching a lot of brunt of the hogs because below y'all is some sure enough swamp, thick stuff. So they're still coming from there, which makes it y'all are got it where y'all are sitting at. It's pretty rough because I know the place where y'all's farms at, but yeah, so how do you go about feeding your deer and all with the hogs and all? How are you doing that so far?
Yes, sir. So I a little bit of research and development. I got out there, and there's some people that come. They come on the weekends. They hunt with thermals for the hogs out there. Mr. Glisson's like, dude, kill them all. So let me know when you're coming. Can't stand them. Kill them all. Do whatever. So they do that, and I've always kind of been if I'm deer hunting and a hog walks out, I'll try to shoot it.
That's right.
I'm not going and hunting them. I'm not going to stalk them. Not trying to pattern them out.
Right.
As far as anything like that. But one morning I got up, I checked my cameras. My feeder had been tipped over. A boss buck, kind of a gravity feeder, little three prong thing where they can eat whatever. Yeah. No, it was a Moultrie one. Yeah, it was the Moultrie one.
But it was on legs, so it didn't in the 4x4 post.
Correct. Yeah. It was a tripod.
Legs. Right.
And so it's sitting out there, Moultrie, gravity feeder, whatever. It was tipped over. I was like, frick. So I go check it out. It had broke the feeder. The whole thing, it had ripped basically the funnels off of the barrel kind of thing to where I couldn't put it on there. So I did a little bit of engineering, figured that all out, but I was like, dude, it's on. I was like, it is on now. It just got,
it got real, didn't it?
I just got some skin in the fight, you know.
Right.
Other than that, I was like, just don't mess with my deer hunt. You know, that's it.
Right.
But got some skin in the game now, and I went out there and I built me like a little. I got some T-posts. Mr. Glisson had a bunch of bent T-posts, and I got on YouTube, found out the best way to unbend them was just to put it in between your ball and the hitch on your truck. And they're like, this is the best way to do it. You know, I'm not going to snap it. You can't do it with your hands.
Right.
But so I did that. Planted about 10 of those, and he had some extra hog wire laying around. I was like, dude, I'm not going to go spend any money on any of this.
Right.
So I did that, set it up. And first night it was good. Second night, no good. They were in there. They broke it or something. Yes. Yeah. And so I went out and I got basically like some U posts that are kind of like this, 12 inches. Went out there and I banged them all to the ground. About 4 in between each post. Mm-hmm. Knock on wood, it is about 10 days successful. So
So this is something you've just done then.
Yes, yeah. I just did that. And this is a spot where I have about 6 to 7. It looks like pretty mature deer coming in. So I'm really wanting to make sure that they're getting fed. Obviously, this is an important time of the year for them to be getting high protein diets, things of that sort. So making sure they're getting fed. But as far as some of my other locations, some of them, there's no hogs on any of the corn. Knock on wood, obviously.
On the same farm?
Same farm.
Right.
Like there's some places where there's no hogs. There's some where there's one. I'll put up with one.
Right.
When I got pictures of 20 hogs sleeping on top of my corn, you got to do something about that.
Right. Yeah, that's the smart way to do it. And I've had several friends. I've got one place that we've been dealing with a little bit of hogs right now. And we fixing to actually set up that pig brig. That's what the trap's called, that pig brig, and try to take a bunch of them out. But yeah, the corral, what you build, what you looked at, that corral is one of the smartest ways to go.
Yes, sir.
And really, like them gravity feeders, you know, they make them now to where it don't have to be on a tripod. You can put it on a 4x4 post, and it'll be like Boss Buck makes it, Banks feeders make it, and I imagine several. And I found out that that's a good way to do it too. And really, if you do it the right way, just to give you a little information, you can take that 4x4 post, but get a 6-inch piece of PVC pipe and cut it the length that the post will be from the ground to the feeder, and you slide the post down the PVC pipe, put it in the ground. And that keeps your raccoons and all from being able to climb up that post and get up there and hang on it, because it's slick. They ain't got nothing to climb on. That's just a tip I'd give you. But the corrals, that's what, and you know, hopefully they won't hit your other feeders. But a lot of times, once they find them feeders, you know,
especially after they know that this isn't an option anymore, start trying to look around somewhere else.
That's right. You know, so do y'all? I know y'all's cows are like grass fed. Y'all do natural grass and all. So y'all aren't really planting any do y'all plant any like wheat and oats and stuff like that in the winter to put the cows on or anything?
No, sir. We there's about probably a period from 60 to 80 days where we got to feed every day. And there's basically some, Mr. Glisson knows more about it. There's some organic, basically bags. We'll go out there, hey, this herd needs 10, this herd needs 5, this 2, and hay. So for every day during the winter, probably about 60 to 80 days, you'll know when the grass is coming up, obviously. But there's a period there where we got to feed every day. Other than that, basically we're just moving them every day now. It's like it's the rotational grazing, you know, kind of more environmentally friendly. They're not eating all the way down to the dirt. It's better for the regrowth of that grass, things of that sort. And it's kind of unique because there's like 50 fields out there, so they're able to not just hammer down on one field to where
you can kind of move them around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I grew up, my dad has cows and all too, so the cows sometimes can aggravate me just as much as the hogs, you know, and that's, my dad loves his cows and everything, but like I had to come up with a way, and I did it lately though, like if I put out feeders or something and I don't have nothing around it, we even had a couple of feeders, like the big game winner feeders that kind of sit lower to the ground. It's the big metal ones with the clamp-on lids. And the cows couldn't tear it up for a while. It's like they would push it or something, you know, and the cows, and it'd fall out, but the deer would still come to it, and it didn't really bother me. You know, I staked it down, but finally I think it was one of his bulls. He'd got a bull, and that bull went up there to that corn and just destroyed that feeder. So I'm like, dang.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't really, and I thought about building some corrals just like the hogs, just to keep the deer out of, just some small ones so the deer could get in it and the cows really couldn't. But
Yes, sir.
I actually had on one of my favorite fields that I hunt, and it's got box stands and all. We had planted it for years in a dove field, and my dad had some friends that worked with Georgia Power, and we run a fake power line down it. Mm-hmm. So we got some power poles out there. So this year, I'm going to see how this works. And I know the cows will eat on it some or find it when it goes off some, figure it out. But I got a hanging feeder, and I made me a device to go up, and I'm going to get up on the tractor and get it hung up high enough to where you can have a crank system and get the feeder up where the cows can't get to it, you know what I mean? And I'm like you with the hog, I'm like, well, if it goes off and they hear it and they come eat the corn, so be it. But I can set it to where like it'll go off enough the deer keep coming to it too, you know? So that's kind of my idea on one of these this year's. I'm actually got to go, I'm going to go try to put that together here in the next week or so. I just got it because it was this past, at the end of deer season, I'd fill that thing up with corn. And he just, so we do like y'all, we'll move the cows around. Deer season, he brings them up towards the house because we're feeding hay.
Yep.
You know, which we do plant oats and wheat and all that. And we got a no-till drill, so I'll plant all the spots I deer hunt with that no-till drill.
Oh, yeah.
And then once it gets up after deer season, it's good for my dad because he can turn the cows loose. And I mean, they're just eating, you know, grain, oats and everything. And he turns them onto the field. So it all works out kind of good on both ways for the deer hunting and his cows too. But yeah, that bull figured he had to have his way with my feeder. You know, he knew corn was in it. And it was lid over here and that thing smashed up. And I'm like, dang it. Yeah, so yeah, I know how it is on them farms can be, but so you did just get engaged.
Yes, sir.
So have y'all set a date yet?
Yes, sir. It was kind of unique with the situation there. Mr. Glisson had built a wedding barn. He was like, I got 5 girls. That's 5 weddings, hopefully. He was like, if I don't host one wedding, I'll be pretty close to breaking even. You know, everybody having their wedding here. But Miss Glisson has taken over that. It's kind of blown up a little bit. It
has. I'll give him a credit on it. It's called the Dogwood Barns. And my wife, she's done several weddings, and we've had a friend down there, BT Walters, got married in it. And so, you know, it's a very nice place.
Yes,
so,
sir.
You know.
But Miss Glisson had kind of reserved us a date because she was like, are you proposing? Obviously, like, whatever. I need to know you're proposing. I'm like, I am. So she's keeping out this weekend for, it's going to be
all right, hold on a minute
year.
now. So your mother-in-law's already set your date for you.
It was already set before I had proposed.
You got to scratch your head a little bit. I know y'all been dating high school. It's like, all right, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But
and you're working for your father-in-law. It's like, you might not have a winning situation in this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, you might need to think about it, Brock.
Sir.
But, you know.
Yeah. We obviously knew it was going to happen at some point, but she had to kind of reserve a weekend, you know, so because everyone was wanting to book up or whatever, but we did that, and then we could have got engaged right when I came home, but I wanted to make sure my parents were there, and Audrey was in full-fledged season in softball, so we kind of pushed back a little bit. But yes, sir.
Did she have an idea it was happening when it was going to? I know she'd been kind of waiting on it, right?
Yes.
And thinking, I heard she was like getting her nails done like once a week, thinking for the pictures.
Yes. Yeah, she was getting her nails done like every Thursday, like every other Thursday or something. She's like, it might be this weekend. But yeah, it was funny. But the day before I actually proposed, she'd gotten a car wreck in Atlanta, just like a little fender bender, you know, whatever. But she got tore up about that, you know, emotional, obviously getting hit and stuff. But she was supposed to come home and get her nails done, and the place was going to close or something. And everyone knew except for her. I was proposing the next day. Dang. And her mom was like, I don't want to get my nails done. I just want to come home. She was like, you have to get your nails done. Basically, like
also it almost told her and almost gave it away.
Yes. Yeah. And she was like, this place is gonna close. I don't want to fool with it. And she was like, well, you need to go. You know, I scheduled this for you because they had to back it up because she'd gotten the car wreck and stuff. So it was almost, you know, all for nothing with her doing it every week. And then showtime comes and she had obviously got hit in Atlanta, but it all worked out.
Yeah, it does. God works out things in funny ways too.
Yeah. I need some story on some of these dang deer.
So yeah, so
What's the biggest one in here?
the biggest one in here is that one. Well, score wise, it would be that one's a 137 and that one's 135.
Okay.
And I killed that one on my family farm where I was talking about the feeder and all was that. So that one meant a lot to me. I killed that deer. My dad had a stroke, and it was a year or two after he had the stroke, and that deer showed up, and I wanted my dad to kill him. And my dad seen him, and he was 160 yards away, and he couldn't keep the gun steady.
I mean, dude.
And we went hunting last weekend of season. I had cameras out, and I believe you'll hear me say this on this podcast like several times. I believe in the moon phase and what they call it, like the red A moon and everything, Adam Hayes moon chart. And that deer, it was red A moon last weekend of season, and that deer daylighted Friday evening. And I told my dad, I said he daylighted, and I said it's red A moon. I said we need to hunt this weekend.
Well, tell me what the whole moon thing is.
All right, so there's a guy that hunts the Midwest a lot. His name's Adam Hayes, and he put together this chart. He's killed like several deer over 200 inches, and watches deer all year long, and he just did a lot of study and put this chart together from at the times he was seeing big deer mature at daylight on their feet, and it kind of fell in with the moon, just like fishing and all can do with the moon, whether the bite's on, just how the animals react, tide,
kind
in
of
the
like
ocean,
barometric pressure.
Yeah, it's like barometric pressure and all. But the moon, when it gets to a certain time and peak, I don't have a clue. It's the way God made things, the way God made nature. But it will actually put these deer on their feet at certain times. And so I had a buddy that started, he's the first one that really got one of these. So you can do it now. It's like you can get it on the app. Before that, you would buy this little disc that would slide the date, and it would show you, what date it was and where it was at on the moon phase and all this. And he was going by that, and he was like, man, he said, I bought this the moon phase chart, the Adam Hayes moon phase chart. And he says, I started keeping up with my trail cameras, because we'll run trail cameras most of the year, and he said, this thing is legit. And I'm like, well, why do you say it's legit? He said, because my shooter deer will show up. They'll daylight on the days it tells me that they daylight. And I'm like, man, that's just, you know what I mean? Yeah, I blew it off.
Kind of how I am right now.
Yeah, I'm like
until
that,
I hear the rest of the story.
I'm like, that just don't matter, And so I started kind of going along and watching it too. And got to seeing kind of some of the same trend. And so my dad's fields, like we plant them and everything, his fields, I would make sure to go hunt on those red A moons. And like it even shows you from like bedding area where a deer's going to be in bedding, or are they going to be in transition between bedding and fields. And most of his was like fields, which a lot of hunters around here don't have fields. So it's really kind of hard to play the game with that unless you have like your farm and everything. So because he's Midwest hunting, and they have nothing but bedding area, transition area, and fields is what they mainly eat. They do have some acorns and stuff, but so these deer, we got to watching it, and this deer, it would really play out. And I'm not going to guarantee you that to go kill your shooter buck every time, but I've got a couple of different incidents that, it's spot on, So that deer, telling about that deer, one of the times my dad seen him, it was red A moon. So red A moon will fall like one time a month. It'll fall like the perfect week will be, or 5 days will be once a month. You're going to have them days. Now, when the rut comes in, throw that thing out the window. Them jokers on their feet all day long for 10 days. You know what I mean? And they're running wide open. So I don't look at it then. But other bow season, early season, especially late season, you can go by it.
Wow.
So I'm going to give you two stories on this.
Yes, sir.
So that buck, mid-season, it was red A moon, and I told my dad, I said, you need to go hunt the field. I said, it's red A moon. And my dad half don't believe in it. I can tell when he looks at it, like he's been hunting all his life. And he's killed some big deer. You've been in the restaurant. Me and his deer's in the restaurant. If you look under his carport, it's like just wall stacks of deer.
You're telling him it's red A moon. He's like, oh, gotcha. I know. I checked it.
And that's like, but he don't think nothing about it. But I'm like, you need to go hunt. I'm like, you need to hunt the next 2 evenings. Well, he goes and hunts. I don't hunt with him. He has another friend that goes and sits with him. And he called me. He's like, man, he said that buck come out. He said he come out about where you thought he was going to be coming from, because I'd had a couple of cameras set up on the field. He said he come out and he was about 160 yards, which is where a pine, our fields are divided with like 6 rows of pine trees, and they kind of grow tall so you can see through them almost into the other field. He said he come out down there, walked down the edge, and was kind of behind a doe, and he says, I just couldn't hold the gun still. And my dad's always been just a crack shot, you know, but I mean, stroke and everything. He's like, I could not keep the gun still, so I wasn't going to shoot at him. So he had that opportunity. Went on by, didn't see the deer. A couple of neighbors was trying to kill the deer too, and anyway, it gets to the end of season. Season's over with, gets down the last weekend. I look at the moon chart. Me and my buddy we're talk hunting every day just about. It's like, the last weekend of season's red A moon, you know. And so I was pouring the corn to the deer. They had the field, but the way I like really doing it is it's expensive, but like every three days or so, I'll take a bag of corn and I'll just throw it in a line down the field, you know, in a certain place, and have a camera looking on it. And me and my dad, I mean, he'll buy corn by the pallet and have it at the house, because he's farms. He goes up there and gets it, you know, and has it. So we just feed the crap out of them through deer season. And that Friday evening, that deer showed up, you know, and it was like 45 minutes before dark. And I mean, he sat there just feeding. Looked like just the puniest thing. He was rutted down, at the end of the season. I told my dad, I'm like, we've got to go hunting this weekend. We got to go. I said, I'm coming to get you Saturday. So I went and got him, picked him up. We went and got in the stands, seen a lot of deer, but didn't see him. And the deer really didn't move like they had on camera the evening before. Well, I found out that my brother-in-law and his brother had went down to our pond and was shooting 22s and all. Well, the deer behind the pond is a big bamboo thicket, marsh, wet. Oh yeah, that's where they bed at. My thing is, I really think that just kept them from getting up. You know what I mean? Because they was down there at 3 o'clock, pow. Yep. And the deer really didn't show up that evening. I'm like, this just don't make sense. You know, I know it's the red A moon. I believe it. This field's supposed to be full of deer. Yep. So I took Daddy back home. We went back home. By the time, now he lives on the same property. It's like being at the farm. Yep. I get out the stand, we get him in the truck, you know, ride around and take him back home. I get back in my truck, pull out, because I'm coming back home. I can't help it. You know, I'm in his driveway. I stop and I hit my reveal camera looking. Yep. Who's standing in front of the field? Oh, it's him. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. He stayed out there. Red A moon. He should be out there in daylight. He should have been out there before in the daylight, you know. And I'm like, why didn't he show up a little earlier? Yep. And anyway, so the next day I told Daddy, I said, we got to go today. It's the last day of season. I'm coming to get you. Well, I went to his house, and I could tell, you could tell, you know, your father and parents, you know, you. I could tell he wasn't feeling good. You know, I went in there and he wasn't in the mood, wasn't feeling good. He said, I don't feel like going. He said, it's the last day. He said, you go. He says, if you see him, you kill him. Yep. You know, and I'm like, all right. But I really did. I wanted my dad to kill him, but I went and sat there, and I mean, it was just one of them evenings. Deer were just pouring in the field, you know, pouring out there. And that deer walked out like probably 8 to 10, just say 10 minutes at the most before last shooting light that I could shoot. He walked out right where my dad said he walked out. It's 160 yards. And the whole time he would walk a few steps and stop, and he was facing me. And I didn't want to shoot him facing me. I'm like, daggum it, you know, come on, I'm losing light, come on. Or turn. Look at or turn broadside or whatever. And he just kept, finally he walked on in to where he got about 70 yards from me in front of the stand, and he put his head down and went to feeding. And I just centered the crosshairs between his shoulders and his neck and said, I'm fixing to shoot him. 70 yards, I felt like I'm comfortable. You know, I squeezed off. I got a shelf in there, and he hit the ground. And I mean, that right there is one of my favorite deer, you know what I mean, of all year. Having and killing him that last week. Yep. All right, this is going to add to this story. So that was the last week. The last day of the season. Yep. Last day of the season. And this is one of those, I reckon you could say like Cash, just the golden horseshoe. Yeah. Okay? Because I tell people, hey, like, you killed deer. I'm like, it's just luck, you know. Oh, yeah. But I put a lot of work and effort in. Yeah, absolutely. So I got a little place around my neighborhood that I hunt. It's always been like a hammer big buck killer. Yeah. You know, neighborhoods can be freaking awesome. Absolutely. And I'll tell anybody, you know, seek one, you watch them shows, you know, it's like, I won't turn down 5 acres if it's in the right place, you know, deer hunting. It's the opening week of bow season is coming in. All right. And I have several friends. I got buddies, man, in the barbershop several times. What you got on camera? And I really didn't. I'm like, I ain't got a deer on camera.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't have nothing I want to shoot on camera.
Yep.
Don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, in my neighborhood, I'd had a really good 8-pointer the year before that I chose to let him go.
Yep.
I killed a really nice big heavy horn deer that was an old deer, like a brute. Just
Just a
them
bruiser.
horns are in my shop, just big old brute of a deer. And I'm like, I don't have a shooter buck. And everybody thought I was really pulling their leg, and I wasn't.
Yeah, you're fixing to come in with a 150.
Well, opening weekend of season, I got to look in bow season was a red A moon.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's going to be, and I was telling my buddy, bow season is going to be hammer, man. You're going to see some big deer killed in Georgia because it's red A moon, and you get to feed them. And I feel like it's cheating in a little way. We're sitting there pouring out corn, and they walk in, and you get to see them. And I will say, and I was a big time bow hunter for years, and now people can knock me, whatever. But in my neighborhood, I got a souped up one of those, a really nice crossbow, and I like just sinking them because I don't want them running through everybody's house. You know what I mean? And I don't gun hunt, so I am shooting a crossbow. But anyway, to get back to the red A moon, it was falling that weekend. Well, so the week before season come in, just say like that Monday or so, season come in Saturday, it was Monday or Tuesday, I get a picture at 4 a.m. of a deer walking by that I can tell has got a good horns on it. I'm like, well, dang, maybe I finally got one showing up. Well, the next evening after dark, the deer shows up, and I'm like, dang. Then I get to looking at the deer. I'm like, that was the 8 last year, but he's done put on some crab claws. He's a big 10. Well, that's like Wednesday. Thursday, he daylights, red A moon.
Heck yeah.
Friday, he daylights, red A moon.
Holy smokes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm telling my buddy, I go sending pictures. I'm like, man, magic has happened. Then, the red A moon's coming in. I'm like, I'm going to kill this deer tomorrow. I'm working at the restaurant that Friday night, and my sister's like, I really got enough help. You don't need to work tomorrow night. And I'm like, I don't want to work tomorrow night. I got something I got to do. I got an appointment. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so anyway, I go and set up, and 45 minutes and before dark, I'm sitting there. I done seen several deer, and the deer I'm after shows up, and that's him right here laying on this table.
Oh, heck yeah.
So those 2 deer, I killed one, and I caught a bunch of crap about this because I killed one the last day of season and the first day of the next season. 2 hammers, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah,
like it's a secret, man.
I'm gonna have to put some thought and some research, and I obviously have heard some great stories about it. I'm ready to read up on it myself.
Yeah,
but,
so
it's just something else to keep an eye on too. It's kind of like
it fun.
barometric pressure.
Yeah,
turkey
I look, and I'll be honest with you. It's like if you get to looking at it, just say like you look at it like this, and this is the way I'll tell anybody. So you and your future wife, y'all plan on having kids?
Yes, sir.
I know you are, some little old athletes coming along, but you get to a point to where you're going to have you think, well, football was busy. You're going to get back into a point in life where everything's going to be busy. So if I have to pick my days of going hunting, I'm going to pick the
days
day
with the best chances.
And that's, to me, is the red A moon, no matter what the weather is. I had a buddy on here talking the other day. He killed a 168-inch deer in Georgia. The only reason he killed him on a red A moon, and he believes in it too now. Yeah. And it was 84 degrees, and rut wasn't in. You know what I mean? And that deer daylighted and showed up 168-inch deer. God. So, you know what I mean? It's just something that I will. And, this like the podcast, you look and you want sponsors, this, that, and the other, and, you don't give into something. But it's a thing deer hunting I'll tell anybody. Absolutely. I'll sit there and tell anybody. The dude come up with something that's legit that the deer, that does help. So absolutely, I would look into it, especially on them big old fields you got on them farms.
Heck yeah. And that's another thing. Like I always, obviously, I've had to couldn't be picky about the days I was hunting, with football and obviously school in high school, even school in college and stuff. But it'd be raining. I'd go sit out there. I got a rain suit, or I'm sitting underneath we got a couple blinds. Some are covered, some aren't, half covered, whatever. But anytime I could get out there, I'd get out there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just happy to be out here, really. And appreciating, like we've said, like God's creation, just watching anything, and how I feel about any hunting. Being out there is a blessing. Fishing, being out there on the water is a blessing. being able to harvest, being able to catch anything is kind of the cherry on top. So, but that is really interesting with, that is, I have a job now, like I'm working, got this stuff to do, trying to go see my family and stuff, but being able to be more selective about the days, if you have to, that's something to definitely look for. And that's like we were talking about, that's kind of the same thing with barometric pressure turkey hunting.
It is. That has a lot to do with it, and that's one thing like turkey hunting, I will say, and I tell friends all the time, I'm blessed when it comes. And for years I worked a job where I had to take off. I'd always take off the opening week of turkey season because it was going to be one of them weeks to kill turkeys no matter what. If they done started gobbling, you was going to find 2-year-old turkeys that wanted to die.
Yep.
That didn't have a bunch of hens and all with them. So I planned on taking time off. Now the Lord has put me into the position where I am a barber. And me and my wife's already had our business. And, you think used to barbers would come in early, but I got my set hours and I don't open shop till 10 because she don't open her shop. And I got a wife that's really good to me. I turkey hunt every morning. It's like I told you this year. You need to get with me next year because I'm going to go turkey hunting every morning of the season. It's what I do. It's about like a bass fisherman hitting tournaments. I'm going turkey hunting every morning. And she knows that. And turkey is just funny because you do the barometric pressure, certain things you can go hunting 5 mornings in a row. And out of them 5 mornings in a row, you might have one morning that's just a daggum hammer gobbling morning. And the rest of them you'll have they won't be gobbling or a few gobbles here and there. And it can almost be what's crazy about turkeys, even though the barometric pressure and all does, it's a morning that can feel, and the barometric pressure be the same as it was 3 mornings ago, and you can be on the same piece of property where you only heard one bird 3 mornings ago, and then that morning you're hearing 6 turkeys and they're hammering. Oh yeah, and it's like, what? Why is this?
What has changed?
That's right. And I have a buddy of mine. He'll be like negative about, man, the birds just ain't gobbling on my farm. Well, when did you go? Well, I went Saturday morning and I went Thursday morning. Well, Monday and Tuesday they might have been hammering.
It could have been. That's right.
I've learned that by being able to go as much as I do. So. Yeah, but all that does work into play, like you said. But yeah, you need to check out that. That ain't something I'm not picking on you on that.
Hook, line, and sinker with turkey hunting. Right. I mean, obviously, I've had one great experience. Anytime I'm in the woods is a great experience. I've harvested one turkey. Other than that, it's been, we've heard some, seen some, but my passion is largemouth bass and white-tailed deer. And for now, it could change. I'm open to change. But that's what I know the most about. It's what I love to fish. And obviously deer hunt.
Right. So, well, that's cool. So your wedding and everything like that's already planned out for you by your mother-in-law. Gonna get all that done. So that's coming up. But I'm gonna kind of end it with something on this. I was just going over and thinking about you just getting engaged, and you kind of giving up football that was a love for you. And I know listening to you put it in God's hands. I know you prayed about it a lot, and
absolutely,
and thought about what's the best way for you to go on with your life. And I love the way you say it, as family and friends, and just being able to do what you want to do. And I know you've talked to me, and some of that is the outdoors and being able to hunt more and get out and do the stuff you like. But I ain't got my glasses, so I can't read that good. But in Corinthians 3:10, it says, according to the grace of God, which was given to me like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation, and another is to build on it. And I was just thinking about you, and just, I actually, saying a little prayer for you, and I know your family and all, and
yes, sir.
And any advice I could give you, I can give you deer hunting advice and all, everything. But as a man that's been married for 20 years and having 2 daughters, and it's hard, it's not easy. There's always going to be stumps in the road. But if you put God as your foundation and Christ as your foundation and build on that, you go forward with that. And I wanted to give that to you, as a blessing and thing from me. But I know you're a man of God, and I don't know, I was just thinking moving forward that.
Yes, sir. I have something crazy that, as God is my witness, didn't know you're going to read that verse, didn't know whatever. Mark, one of my uncles I hunt with, the one I didn't tell the story about. Holy smokes. I hope I don't tear over nothing. But we hunted my great-grandparents' property last year. their first house they ever lived in is still there. It recently burned down like 2 or 3 years ago. They still live on the same farm in Alabama. We sat there at the burned down house and we talked for like an hour, 2 hours about deer hunting, country music, trucks, the Lord, everything. And when we got engaged, we invited family and friends over to Layton's Lake House and everything. And he wrote me this handwritten letter, like literally just took the time out of his day to write this handwritten letter. And he'd wrapped up a brick from the burned down house and was basically like, this is your foundation. Keep your foundation, your faith strong. Obviously keep the Lord first, but this is your new foundation. This is your new family. And for you just reading that verse and ask me if I had any unique stories about any hunting things or whatever, I told you one about Matt and this is one's about Mark. But when you just said that, I was like, holy smokes. It's just,
it's God
full
working.
circle.
It ain't made that, it's straight,
and I
straight
don't believe,
God
I believe everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Like, I don't believe in any chance. I don't believe in luck, none of that stuff. Like, be prepared, get ready for whatever, get ready for your job interview, be prepared for tests. Like, not going to leave it up to chance, you know?
Right.
Like the let go, let God thing. No, like you can't just be sitting on the couch all day. God's got me.
Right.
Like, you got to get up and do it. You know, you got to go work hard, take pride in your work. But man, that was good right there.
Good. God put it on my heart. And
Yes,
so he
sir.
did it for a reason,
Holy
like you
smokes.
said. And
Yeah.
he's going to lead you to where he wants you to be. You just got to
Absolutely.
listen to him and go to him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I can be hard-headed sometimes. We
Yes,
all
sir.
can with us. It's like,
Absolutely.
I don't want to do this, but you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for you and excited for your future. And I'm really glad to get to know you and get to know, you know, your in-law family. I hadn't met none
Yes,
of
sir.
your family, but
Yeah,
just
heck yeah.
for what couple of times, it's only, you know, second time we really talked, but
Yes,
I could
sir.
tell we could have some good conversations.
Absolutely.
And I promise you, it's up to you. It ain't up to me.
Oh.
You get in a truck, we're going
Yes, sir.
turkey hunting next
Come
year.
on. Yes, sir.
And we'll go sit in a deer stand together this
Heck
year.
yeah.
So if you want to.
I will get some fielding, you know, some planting advice.
Yeah.
I definitely a great resource.
Yeah, get with me. We'll go ride around the farm. And like I said,
Heck
I'll
yeah.
take you over to my place and we'll go deer hunting and all something.
Yes,
But
sir.
I really appreciate you doing this. I know you've had a busy week. We all
Yes, sir.
had. And
Absolutely.
I know I have to tell this on it. I give him my address and he went totally the opposite way of the state of Georgia to get here when it was 15 minutes from his house
Yep,
where he
yep,
was coming
yep.
home to. So
Called Mr. Jamie. I said, hey, I'm about 15 minutes out, an hour away. Yeah. Messed
he's
that
like,
one up. Yep.
he's like, hey, you live in this neighborhood? I'm like, I don't have a clue where you're at, man. And he put it in and says,
said-
I'm in Forsyth. I'm like, I don't live in Forsyth.
How many cul-de-sacs does your neighbor have, or does your neighborhood have? Just one. Oh, well, I'm looking at 4. So,
Well, I've really enjoyed it, and
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it, Brock.
heck yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Shocking silver queen on my grandma's porch. Peach ice cream churning on the floor. Telling largemouth lies when you're fishing. Girl next door had you wishing on a shooting star in a July sky. 4th and 1 on a Friday night when the muddy water made my soul a little cleaner. Life was good and the tea was a little sweeter.